Hey guys, what's happening? Chef Pete here from Culinaria. Is my collar straight? Yeah, guess it's close enough. So today we're going to be doing some tomato soup, one of my favorite soups. I have several favorites, but this is one of them. So we have some fresh tomatoes. I'm going to show you how to peel these. There's a couple of ways. You know, if you only have a couple of tomatoes to do, you can always use a yolk peeler, and you can just slice along the top and you'll peel the tomato. It works great. But if you've got 15 or 16 of these to do, easiest way is to just take the bottom, take your knife and just lightly cut and an X in the bottom like so, and drop it into a little bit of water that's heated up, which it was earlier because I did a whole bunch before. Hey Yumi, gotta have a glass of wine while cooking. So the tomato soup, the recipe I've already put on the Chef Pete page. If you can't see it and want a copy, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to email you a copy. You just need to let me know at Pete, P-E-T-E, .snaith, S-N-A-I-T-H, at culinariacookingschool.com. While I'm waiting for the water up, I'm going to go ahead and slice up my onion here. We need one onion, and I know the spice and herb mixture is fairly large, but if you don't have things like onion powder and garlic powder, just use the regular onion and add some fresh chopped garlic. Don't use that other stuff that comes in the jar. It's not so good. Hey Tom, what's going on? Here's to you, bud. Nothing like a good wine. Lovely. So where was I at? So the spice mixture, when mixed up, is like so. Smells wonderful. So I've cut the top of the onion off. This is the bottom here. So I'm going to go ahead and slice through the onion, and we're just going to peel this back until we have a nice firm section of the onion. And you don't have to chop this up real fine. You can, but we're going to blend our soup so it's a nice smooth soup. And then we're going to add some cream. If you don't want to add cream, you could do milk or half and half, but I really like the cream. It really adds a nice mouthfeel to it. So taking my onion here, I'm just going to take my knife, and I'm not going to slice all the way through. I'm just going to run this down close to the bottom, and then I'm just going to turn and then just cross cut. So we're going to be using the same pan that I'm doing the tomatoes. I started out actually with 20 tomatoes, but I think the recipe called for 16, I think. Yes, 16. So you can add a little bit more. If you can't find Roma tomatoes, use anything that's really nice. Farmers Market, great place to get fresh tomatoes. So at the end of slicing our onion, you should have about 2 knobs about that big left. So we try to use everything. So on the tomatoes, let me just toss this away. Well, let me grab a bowl and I'll just put it into a bowl. Like so. So there's our tomato. Here's our celery. You can see that okay right here. There's our tomato we already sliced up. Here's a glass of wine. So let's see, let me turn up the water just a little bit more. But when you drop these in water, you'll see that the skin splits. So what can you do with that? Well, most people probably just throw them away. And I'll show you after this comes out how I did this. But in the oven here, let me grab that up. Here, I'll turn this over here. I have some tomato skins that I have dried or in the process of drying out. A little bit of salt, pepper, a little bit of dried basil, and a little bit of Parmigiano, and they're just in a 150-degree oven until they get, well, they're almost there. So we have these little tomato skin chips. And before I added anything, I added just a little bit of olive oil. So once you get them done, let me go over that again since I forgot. So look, just a little bit of olive oil on the skins, and salt and pepper, dried basil, and a little bit of Parmesan. And they come out real crispy and light, and we'll do that for a little garnish. So kind of fun. Nothing to waste, right? Okay, so water is almost there. After I do the tomatoes, cut them in half or cut them into quarters, and then just cut them into some little pieces. Like I said, doesn't really matter because we're going to blend this later to make a really nice cream of smooth tomato soup. And of course, gotta have a grilled cheese. So whatever water comes out of the tomatoes, hey Robin, doesn't matter, it'll just go into our pan and we're just going to cook that down. For some of you guys that have seen this recipe before, I don't know why today I just felt like, let's try adding a little bit of white wine to it. Right? Why not? So we're going to do that. So we're going to be using some chicken stock, maybe a little bit more because I had a few extra tomatoes, and don't want to waste it. And by all means, your best chicken stock is always going to be stuff that you make. But in today's time, it's okay to use the store-bought. I typically use Chicken Basics. Not a sponsor, but just what I have found over the years that is probably my favorite. Yumi asked, did I remove the seeds? No, because they're going into a blender. You can, but within that little, I'll show you when I cut these up, that little section that holds the seeds, there's this red squishy stuff. I don't know what to call it, but there's a lot of flavor in that. So if you really are annoyed by the seeds, you can strain your soup, but in a good blender, you probably won't find many. Just love a glass of wine. So this is becoming my new norm, cooking virtually. All right, so my water is almost kind of at a boil, looks like. So you can see little bubbles in the bottom. This will actually only take probably a minute or two. I'm going to empty my trash bowl and drop in my tomato here. Okay, So we got a little vessel here. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this in. I'm going to go ahead and add some cold water to this. So just regular cold tap water right here. So I've got a strainer, and let me show you guys here. You can already see how the skin is peeling up, right? So I'm just gonna drop that in a little bit of cold water, and that will stop the cooking process. So in the meantime, I'm going to take this same pan and I'm going to dump the water out. Turn my burner off. That way, only one pan. Woo. That pan's hot. All right, there we go. So one onion, I've got one stick of celery. I finally chopped. Don't really have to, but I did. So let me show you what I did with these tomato skins that are in the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this water here real quick. So on this, you can see the skin is just peels right off, like so. So if you're able to get some of these bigger pieces, kind of like that, then you can put those onto a sheet tray. I used a little bit of parchment because it doesn't stick, and just dap it dry a little bit. And then all I did was take a little bit of olive oil on one side and flip it over and lightly coat the other side, and then put just a little bit of dried basil. Hey Kathy, hey Bobby. A little dried basil and salt, pepper, and a little bit of shaving of Parmigiano Reggiano. Not the Parmesan cheese, not in the green can. Yeah, no, it's real when it says Parmigiano on it. That's what you want to use. And it smells so good. And it's those little crystals in there, those little crunchies when you bite. It's yeah, so good. All right. So once I've done that, I put them onto a sheet tray, like I have in the oven there. I'll show it to you guys one more time for those that are just joining. And this is what they look like after they've been, I think I've had them in there for about 1 hour and 20 minutes. So, you know, again, you can just pull these guys up and they're good. Nothing to waste. A little salty, cheesy, basil, it's nice. Okay, so let me get rid of my tomato skin here. A little wipe down. So, have some butter here. And it's nice room temperature. And I'm going to take about 4 tablespoons of butter. We're going to leave this out for our grilled cheese later. And I'm going to let this melt, turn my heat back on. So while that's melting, I'll take my tomato here. And just slice down in the middle, flat side down, And you can, if there's a big stem area like on this guy here, right, you can just trim him out just a little so it's not woodsy. But actually this white pith right here has a lot of flavor too. So we'll just turn those back to make a half, and we'll just do 2 cuts. And same for the other one here. And then we'll add these to our bowl. So go back to the butter. It's starting to sizzle now. And want it to turn a little bit brown. Get that little nutty flavor. So there's all of our tomatoes that are going to go into our soup. And I was thinking today was like the perfect day because it was rainy, and I just went outside a few minutes ago and it's like beautiful outside. So you can hear our butter. You can smell it. Well, I can, right? So you can see that it's starting to brown a little bit. That's what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and add, let's see, there we go, our onions. And these little things are a great thing to have too. And I'm going to add our celery. Again, that was 1 onion and 1 stalk of celery, just finely chopped. And we'll give this a little stir. And I'm just going to let this cook for a minute or so, and then I'm going to add some of our spice blend that we made up earlier. And let me clean my board. There we go. Always nice to have clean surfaces. So hopefully everybody's doing well. We're still waiting to get the excuse me, the okay on opening up. Limited seating, I guess, would be. Turn that back up to medium. And yeah, so we still don't know nothing. But it's all right. We just keep going. And turn that just a little bit more. So I'm going to take a couple of spoonfuls of our seasoning mix here. Just give it one more stir. And there's like one here. Let me turn the camera a little bit. There we go. And about 2.5 of those. And I'm just gonna stir this up and let those spices start toasting. Smells so good. So this is pretty inexpensive. I would say, depending on how many tomatoes, if you're doing somewhere between 15 and 20 tomatoes, you should be able to easily have feed 4 to 6, depending on how much you like tomato soup. Considering that this is basically for my consumption, I'll have some leftovers, which I'll just eat every day because I love tomato soup, and it's good for you. All right. So I'm going to turn this up to about a medium high. So this is what we're looking at so far with our seasoning in there. And once this starts to stick and become really fragrant, because there's also some sugar in here, not a lot. Should have got the top out already, but here we go. Smelling good. Top. Maybe I'll get lucky and have the right top. Yes, got lucky. All right. So, I don't know if you can see or not, it's starting to stick to the bottom a little bit, right? See over there. My onions are soft, almost, maybe about another 30 seconds. And then I'm going to dump in all of our tomato at one time. Just love this. Hey, Glenn. Glenn is joining us. He is a fantastic artist. I think he's doing tattoo design, and I don't know if he's doing actual tattoos, but he's an incredible artist. If you have not checked out any of his work, Glenn, do you have a website or a Facebook page just devoted to your art? If so, share it, and everybody should check it out. All right, so we're sticking real good now. So I'm going to go ahead and add all my tomatoes. You can tell the pan's pretty hot. Give this a stir, and this will loosen up all of the stuff that was sticking on the bottom, right? It's going to come up to a nice boil. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put our top on, and we're at medium high, and we're going to let this come up to a boil and cook for about 10 minutes. So later on, I have got some white cheddar, some yellow cheddar, a little bit of Parmigiano, a couple of slices of ham. We're going to do a ham and grilled cheese sandwich to go with this. If I had some bacon, I would probably put some bacon on there too. Yeah, Glenn is like the artist to be hired. Hey, you know, we always try to help out our fellow people that are in business, and you know, when we can stand behind them, it's always a good thing to do. So if any of you guys are, you know, doing other sideline businesses or whatever, you know, please let the people know, and you know, check them out. It's always a good thing. All right, so now we got a snooze fest for about the next 8 to 10 minutes, something to that effect. Starting to come up to a boil. So this breaks down the tomatoes like really quick. After this comes up to a boil and cooks for about 10 minutes, I'll add the remaining seasonings. And the reason I do this in 2 stages is because the first stage, it's like toasting the spices and the herbs, and it deepens the flavor. And then we'll layer another section in, and oh, I should have put my wine in first. Darn it. Well, I meant to add the wine before I added the tomatoes, but so there goes our wine. Give us a nice little stir. It's already smelling delicious. Top back on. And we want this to come up to a hard boil for 8 to 10 minutes. So it is now 5:30-ish, and we'll check it about 20 to 6. So, what am I going to do for the next 10 minutes? Have some wine. It's good stuff. This is where it's nice to have the film crew here, and you can say cut and then come back in. So now I got a time filler. Everything else is going pretty well. Hopefully all you guys are doing well and still employed or in retirement or whatever. Very strange times, but it is what it is, as a buddy of mine, Brian, says. So clean up a little bit. Pan we'll be using for our grilled cheese. I'm going to use like a light wheat bread because I like light wheat bread. You could definitely use white bread or sourdough bread, pumpernickel bread, any kind of bread you like. There we go. Sorry about that. There was a call coming in and I was trying to stop it. So, what's new with people out there in the rest of the world? Anything? Gotta make that one last. Let's see where we're at here. There we go. So when I say a hard boil on the soup, this is what I mean. So I usually ask this towards the end, but since there's a few people watching here, if there's something that you want to learn to cook, I know last week someone asked about spatchcock chicken. I will see if I can get that to that next Friday. But if there's something else that you want to see, let me know. And speaking of spatchcock, which is a way of cooking fowl, instead of keeping it whole like so, you cut out the backbone and you just open it up so it cooks more evenly and more quickly. But you can do that with any fowl. You can do that with Cornish hens. Yumi just asked, how do you prepare for roasted tomato soup? So what I would do is not remove the skins. I would cut the tomatoes in half, do them on a sheet tray, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, leave the skins on, and place the tomatoes onto a sheet tray, cut side down, and put them in about there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You could do like a slow roasted at like 250 for maybe 2.5 hours if you have other things that you need to be preparing, or you could put them in the oven at like 350 for about maybe 15-20 minutes. The skins will actually kind of, as they start to cook, sometimes they get a little bit black, and you can just pinch them and just pull them off, and then just let it cool. And same process that we've done here. It's really it makes a difference. The tomato flavor is much more intense, and if you I know the farmers markets in some areas are opened up. A friend of mine, Natalie, does a lot with the Warrenton Farmers Market. I think their website is warrentonfarmersmarket.com. Check it out. I'm sure if you want to take a drive like this weekend, I think they're there like Saturday or Sunday or both, you can order your produce ahead and drive through, and they'll put it into your car, unless they've relaxed their guidelines for what you can do with people. But I guess tomatoes are coming out now, but summertime is the best, man. When you go out and just pull out, 15 or 20 tomatoes off your plants and do this, it's like incredible. Yeah, that's really boiling now. Turn it down just a scooch. So, I mean, we're basically kind of almost halfway there. We're gonna add some chicken stock. We're gonna run this through the blender, and we can either add the cream before or after. If you want to add some fresh basil to this, by all means, you can. You could also do fresh thyme. That would be really nice. Dried herbs, all kinds of stuff you can do. You could make little Parmesan croutons, but since we did the little roasted tomato skins, do those for garnish. And I think we'll shave a little bit of Parmigiano on top of our soup. Yeah. All right, we've got about another 2 minutes. Let me give us a little stir. And let me show you how the tomatoes are starting to break down. So we got a nice big boil going on there, and it's you can see it's already kind of going to tomato soup. If you don't want to add cream, you can just do this. Add your wine, add your chicken stock, and puree it, and just have regular tomato soup. But there's something really nice about the cream. I've actually never made it with milk. Growing up as a kid, Campbell's was the thing, and it was really special when you had cream of tomato, and instead of a can of water, you added a can of milk. But the cream, or the half and half, is definitely going to make it much richer. All right, let's see where we're at here. I'm going to give it one more minute, and then I'm going to turn it down a little bit, and then we'll add our chicken stock. So it really depends too on how thick you like your soup. I had 2 cups of chicken stock left, and wanted to do this with what the average person has hopefully in their pantry, which is typically store-bought. And I always try to buy the low sodium, and that way I can adjust the amount of salt in whatever I'm cooking, because not everybody has the time to make stock. All right, I think we're probably close enough. I'm going to turn this down to a medium. Give us a little stir. So you can see here how much more liquid it is. But the tomatoes are literally starting to fall apart. And if you don't want to go through the whole, skinning process, you can leave them in. You'll just have these little round bits of tomato skin. not that that's necessarily a bad thing, because we're eating them anyway, in the ones that are in the oven. All right, that's good. So I'm going to go ahead and add a cup of tomato, or I mean chicken stock, add the rest of my spices in. And I'm going to bring that back up to a boil. And then I can add my fresh basil if I want, this should take about 10 minutes, but I'd make the grilled cheese right now, but then it would be cold by the time I got to eat. All right. I'm going to back up to a good boil. Let me get the blender. Blender. Now, if you don't have a blender and you have a immersion blender, you know, one of these guys, you can also use this, but the blender will definitely give you a smoother soup. Either way, it's something else to clean up, I know. Oh, hey Sarah, my niece is here, my favorite niece. I always say that. Very, very cool. I really wish that we lived closer, so I could spend more time with her and I could introduce her to all of you guys. It would be very cool. So maybe one day when all this nonsense is done, I don't know what else to call it. It's not really nonsense, but all right. So here's my boil again with the chicken stock in it. So we got this at a good rolling boil. Now I can let the lid off. Turn it down just a smidge because I don't want to be wearing red all over my jacket. Oh. Yeah, and all the tomato is just falling apart at this point. And I don't know if you guys have made tomato soup at home, but growing up, as I said, it was Campbell's. I never had anything else other than Campbell's. It was just, as a kid, it was delicious. And then when I got a little older and there were other ones available, I guess I was probably in my 20s, I went back and tasted it and I'm like, wow, nothing like the real deal. So, and if you can't find fresh tomatoes, you know, they are all, you know, hothouse tomatoes, not good tomatoes. You could always do this with, excuse me, a couple of cans of good whole tomatoes, and most of the time they are skinless. You know, like a nice San Marzano or a plum tomato, just same process. Instead of going through all the stuff with the fresh tomato, just go ahead and dump your whole tomatoes in there, bring them up to a boil, and yeah, it would be good too. Nothing wrong with a canned tomato. So, nice boil. Ooh, that stove is hot. So, you get a ladle. And then I'll ladle, give us another minute or two. And I'm going to start blending this up. Now I could add my cream before, that's fine, but I'm gonna add it afterwards. So here's our bowl that we had our drained tomatoes in. Give this a little quick rinse. And once I blend the soup, I'll put that in the bowl and go to the next batch, because I won't be able to fit all of this in at one time. And as you can see now, you can still see the tomato and the onion parts in there. You can see the seeds, but I don't really care about the seeds, because this blender is gonna blend it to smithereens. All right, let me turn that off and get this about half full. Alright, so we're going to put our top on. And I always like to take a towel and cover that, just because when it's really hot like this, it expands. So start out on low, turn it on, and then we can slowly climb. If I start this on high, it's just going to expand and it's going to want to blow the top off. There's our first batch. And it's hot. You can see that. And then we'll pour our soup in our bowl for now. And we'll add another batch here. Maybe I can get all this in if the pan's not too hot. So other things that you might, experiment with the soup, with the ingredients. with some of the ingredients, if you like it a little bit spicier, add a pinch of cayenne. You could do smoked paprika rather than just regular paprika. You could do a little ancho powder. Just really depends on your taste. Let me go ahead and pour the rest of this in. Nice and hot. And I'm going to give this pan a little bit of a rinse here. Because I don't want any of the chunky chunks that are in the bottom that I can't really get out. Hey, Kathy. Let me put this here. And while this is blending, I'm going to go ahead and rinse out this pan. Up to high real quick. All right. So now I can add this back to our pan. Gotta get one of those little spatulator things. Here we go. You want to get all this good stuff. All right, close enough there. Add in the remaining of soup here. Get all that good stuff off the bottom here. Give your pans and blender a little rinse. They clean up a little easier. Let's move our blender out of the way. And grab our cream. And we're going to add about a cup of cream. And this is what we look like after blending, and then we'll add our cream. Give it a little stir. Like so. always want to taste, make sure we're good for seasoning, salt, pepper.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe a touch more cream. So that's why, you know, recipes are a guideline. After you've added your ingredients, give them a taste. If you think it needs something else, add a little bit of something else, you know. All right, so there's our soup. I'm going to move this to our back burner to keep warm. Place our lid on it. Here it is. And I'm just going to keep this on low on the rear burner. And now we got our saute pan. But clean out our ladle for when we do our in the bowl. All right, now have a sip of wine. Daisy is here from the Philippines. Very cool. Hopefully everything's going well. All right, so we got let me rearrange here. See how nice it is to have a camera crew? Yeah, I don't know about that, but some softened butter. I'm going to go ahead and turn my saute pan on, so if I can get all this going at once. Move it a little closer so you can see everything. Okay. Got a couple of simple pieces of store-bought bread. If that's all you got, that's what you use, right? Here I've got a little bit of Applewood smoked ham, a little bit of 3-year-old cheddar, and some yellow cheddar, and then I've got a little bit of Parmigiano weekend on top. It'll be good. Let's see here. Right down our cutting board here. And let me get a knife here. So I'm going to take a little bit of our butter and spread this onto our bread. And nice even coating. Don't miss any of the nooks and crannies. Like so. And make sure we're on the right side. Yep. And on the other side. So I want my pan to be hot, but not smoking hot, because you want the crust on this grilled cheese to really form. But before we start the grilled cheese, I'm going to go ahead and do our ham real quick. I love a good sandwich. I'm sure if any of you guys follow me on Facebook, you will see sandwiches being made. So we've got this down kind of on between low and medium. I just want to cook this a little bit here. Our ham, maybe a little bit of butter. Butter always makes everything taste better. So does wine, but I don't think the wine would work on a grilled cheese. But who knows? Maybe I'll think of a way to do that. Maybe reduce it and paint it on the bread or something. I don't know. Alright. So we're just gonna lightly cook our ham. And I can go ahead and turn this over. And I'm gonna go ahead and layer some of this nice 3-year-old cheddar. Oh, it looks like we have more than we need. That's okay. Oh, that's good. So the ham is already cooked, so I just want to give it a little, you know, brownness on it, caramelization. So I'll take a slice of our yellow cheddar and add that on. This is at room temp if it seems a little, you know. And then what I'm going to do with the ham is just quarter it, folding wise, and put it on a bread. Another layer of cheese, turn my heat down, and then we're going to start the grilled cheese. When I do a grilled cheese, the cheese has got to be running out. And it smells really good. Smell the smokiness. Alright, so here's what our ham looks like. Got a little bit of brown to it. Now I can take this out. Turn my heat down to low for now. And I'm just going to pull it out like so. Maybe I'll just do halves. That'll be fine. Whew. If it was a little bit bigger ham, I would quarter it. All right. So now we've got a little bit more cheese. Another slice of yellow cheddar on there. Give our board a little bit of a clean here. A little Parmigiano. Top on and into our pan. And I'm down on low now. So one of the things that I'm going to do when I turn this over, I want it to get nice and golden brown, turn it over, and I'm going to keep flipping it because I want the bread itself to get really crispy. So when you bite in it, you hear that crunch. And then I probably need a spatulator to turn it over. Let's see how we're doing on this side here. It's a little light. It's okay, because I'm going to keep turning it over. Maybe add a little bit of butter to the pan. I've been looking forward to this all day. Whenever I know I'm going to make tomato soup, I'm happy. Whenever I do anything with tomatoes, I'm happy. Love tomatoes. So I'm going to give this a little quick flip. Like so. And we're just going to keep cooking this until the cheese gets real ooey and gooey. And then I will shred some Parmigiano on top, flip it over, and cook it to get the cheese brown on top. Yeah, cheesy. It's not easy to be cheesy. Hey Terry, what's happening? What a week. Yeah. I agree. What a week. Just need a little more wine. Hey, Don is here. What type of cheese is inside? Don asked. Is a 3-year-old white cheddar, yellow cheddar, Parmigiano. I don't know, whatever you got. I've done like 4 cheese. Gruyere's real nice because it gets real ooey and gooey. But I had white cheddar and yellow cheddar today, and a little block of Parmigiano. So let's see how we're nice and light brown on that side. But I'm going to keep flipping this over until the cheese is just oozing out. And the ham, it's just a nice little, grilled cheese is fine, but if you got some ham or you got some bacon, you know me and bacon. So I'm cooking this all pretty much on kind of between low and medium. And I'm just gonna, like I said, keep turning this over until all the cheese starts to ooze out a little bit. And then I'm gonna do a layer of Parmigiano on top, flip it over, and we'll see how it turns out. The eyebrow thing that came from the Philippines. I've been over there many times, and that's like one of the things that they do that I don't know. I just picked it up, but it's pretty funny. It means like you like something. I think I might have to open up another bottle of wine. Have to see what we have. All right. Flip that over again. Thank you. Someone just said, I can't quite see from here, that I was very talented to watch. Thank you very much. That's a very nice compliment. I just have fun. That's, whether I'm doing a class professionally or just doing something like a cook-along like this, I just love what I do, and I love to interact with people, and just let your taste buds take you where they may. So, I don't know if let me see if I can show you this a little bit. See, our cheese there is starting to get a little bit of ooey gooiness. That's a good thing. So when we slice this, this hopefully will have a nice crunch on top. Have a bowl of soup. Should have picked up some potato chips. That would have been good. Or some crackers. Oh well. Oh. We still have our little tomato skins. Let's see how they're doing. So here's our slow dried tomato skins from when we peeled the tomatoes, and a little olive oil, salt, pepper, some dried basil, and a little bit of Parmigiano, and they've just been for probably close to 2 hours or a little bit more. Just been in a 150-degree oven, just drying out, so they're kind of crispy. You can use these as a little garnish, which we will. Let me flip this over on the other side here. Oh yeah. Now the cheese is starting to get a little ooey and gooey. You can see it's starting to melt a little bit out. That's the 3-year-old cheddar. I sliced it a little bit thick. Well, thank you, Don. Don just said thanks for doing the videos. It is without a doubt my pleasure. It's the one thing I look forward to during the week now. All right, so let me pull this out for just a moment. Add just a little touch of butter here. Oop. So, you know, the great thing about, you know, making a soup like this is you can keep this in your refrigerator for several days. You can freeze it, excuse me, and in portions. Take it out when you need it. And so I'm going to take a little bit of our Parmigiano. Hopefully this will work. And we're going to pop this back in. Cheesy cheese. And a little bit on the other side. Oh, very cool. I'm glad someone said to be here, or to be honest, watching your videos has really improved my style of cooking and more enjoyable by my clients I cook for. Very cool. Thank you so much. I think I need new glasses. Now, you can see what's kind of happening right there with the cheese right there. It's kind of oozing out. Oh, yes. Let's see how we're looking on this side. Yep. A boot camp online for adults. John just asked, how about doing a boot camp for adults? Sure, like basics, you know, sauteing, knife skills, you know. So yeah, I could try to condense that into like one little evening and maybe over 2 evenings. Now, this is, you know, when you've got a really good grilled cheese. Look at that, just oozing out. Oh, that's gonna be so good.
I need more wine.
All right, let me turn this over one more time. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit. I want it to get a little more crispy. One side didn't melt too well. Soup is definitely ready. I can turn this off and it'll stay hot now. Cheese is oozy goozy out. Alright. So while that's cooking for a moment, let me see what kind of wine I got. There was an open bottle. Chardonnay. Okay. Let's taste some of this stuff here. All right. So our little tomato skins are out. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off our grilled cheese. Get a bowl for our soup. Nice bowl. Kind of a cheesy night. So I'm thinking I'm going to add a little bit more soup. And let's get a plate. And soup. Take our grilled cheese. That's kind of oozy and goozy. Move our butter here. I don't know if you could hear that crunch or not, but and then some of our little crispy tomatoes. Instead of crackers. There's a nice one there. And here is our grilled ham and cheese with tomato soup. Now, time for taste. Julie is here. Yes, a boot camp. That's number 2. I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. If there are specific things that you guys want to see, because typically I try to do these, you know, I guess it's been like an hour and a half. So, I mean, I could do several of these over the course of several Fridays or several days. Let me know if there's something in specific that you want to learn, knife skills, or, you know, the sauteing or whatever. If I had a little bit of basil, it would be nice, or a little bit of basil pesto put on in the center there. That would be really nice too. But let's take a taste. Oh yeah, love tomato soup. And our little dried tomato skin. They're good. Mm. The cheese is just running out of the. Mm. A little glass of wine. Wow. Turn off the fan. And there we have grilled cheese and tomato soup. I don't think you can get much better. Sometimes the simplest things in life are the best. Another tomato skin. They're crunchy, tastes like tomato. You can taste all of the different things. Mm. So much cheese it's hard to eat, but that's a good thing. Mm. Terry just said, looks so good. Perfect for a rainy evening. Yeah, but now it's really nice here. It was kind of raining on and off all day. This is a great thing to teach a kid because it's not too complicated, and it tastes good. Everybody loves tomato soup. Well, most people, I guess. There's always one in the bunch, but that's just really good. So you're joining me for dinner now. Mm. So again, the recipe for the soup is on my Facebook page. I posted that earlier. If there's anything that you missed, let me know and I'll go over it right now. Or you can shoot me an email. Mm. The cheese is so hot. It's like burning, but it's so good. All right, guys, have a great evening, great weekend. Be safe. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for tuning in to Culinaria and Chef Pete. Really appreciate it. We're working on getting a YouTube channel up, and just let all your friends know. Follow us, like us. It would be great. Culinaria Cooking School and Chef Pete on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, and I've got a site on YouTube for pizza, Chef Pete Snaith, and I'm working on the Culinaria one. So take care, guys. It was a pleasure having you, and be safe out there, and have a good weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.